In 2077, the Earth is left with only two people, Jack and Victoria. 50 years ago aliens came to invade the Earth, they directly destroyed the moon, and it severely affected the Earth. In the end, humans have defeated the aliens but the cost was too high, the Earth environment was destroyed. People decided to move to another place to live, built a command center in space called TET and created hydroelectric plants at sea to supply energy. 45 years later, people have left entirely, but the building still needed to do the work. To prevent the remaining aliens on Earth from damaging the power plants, humans have used automated spacecrafts to protect them. Jack and Victoria have to stay on Earth to repair them. Their numbers were both 49. The two had lost a portion of their memory so they could not reveal the secrets to aliens. One morning, a loud bang appeared. Jack flew the plane there when he discovered that the aliens had exploded the hydroelectric works. At this time, Victoria gave Jack a signal. He quickly reached the source of the signal. After dissecting the signal, Victoria discovered that it was a coordinate. Maybe the aliens were calling for backup. Jack quickly cut the signal and left. He went to the little house by the lake. Jack was trying to remember his family, but in the distance there was a loud noise. He looked up at the sky to discover something. Jack immediately went to check. He thought that was an alien spaceship, but when he came to check it out, there were all human hibernation pod inside. Among them, there was a girl he often dreams of. Jack did not know who the girl was and did not expect her to appear one day. When he was extremely surprised, a spaceship appeared outside. After checking one of them, they killed the people in the hibernation pods. Jack couldn't understand why the robot did it. They went to Jack to check. Jack was blocking in front of the girl, so when the spacecraft found out that it was him, it left. Jack also saved the girl and brought her back and woke her up. She is Julia. He told Julia she had been in the spaceship for more than 60 years. He even told Julia what happened during this time, but Julia didn't tell them where she came from. The next day, Julia asked Jack to take her to the place where she was hibernated. She found a memory recorder, but unfortunately they have encountered the aliens. Finally Jack was knocked out by them. When he regained consciousness, he found himself tied in the dark. He thought that he was captured by an alien, but when the light was turned on, he discovered that the one who captured him was a human. The leader told Jack that the real alien tricked Jack. Actually, humans have lost the battle, so they always have to avoid the aliens. They wanted Jack to help them destroy TET, but he refused. Jack doesn't believe them. Then Jack and Julia were released. He took Julia to the signal tower to inform Victoria. He then signaled to send the spacecraft to pick them up. While waiting for the spaceship, Julia told Jack everything. 60 years ago suddenly TET appeared near the Earth. The US wanted to check it out so they sent Jack, Victoria, and Julia and the others. Jack and Julia used to be husband and wife. Jack's memories began to appear more and more. He remembered the image of himself proposing to Julia. In the end, the two people hugged each other. Victoria saw everything. Her heart was broken. After the two returned, still attacked. Eventually the spacecraft fell into the ground. When Jack went out, he saw a spaceship. It was exactly like Jack's spaceship. There was one person who went out to check the damaged spacecraft. He went up to stop but the person looked just like him. At this time Julia appeared and distracted the other. Jack immediately rushed to beat him. Eventually he was beaten to fainting but, unfortunately, Julia was shot. Now Jack has to find treatment equipment. Then Jack discovered that the Jack earlier was number 52 and his number was 49. Surely they are clones. Because the aliens wanted them not to see each other, they lied to them. Jack tied up his 52nd clone and boarded his spaceship to base 52. He found the therapeutic device and met the 52nd Victoria. He asked her to leave with him but she refused. Jack returned to find Julia when found that the 52nd copy has disappeared. He rushed to rescue Julia and took her to the house by the lake. Jack told Julia that he was just a clone, but she felt that if he has the same ideas, he is still Jack. That night the two were together. The next day they both went to the human place. They decided to help humans attack the TET. The leader said that when TET finished attacking the Earth, the aliens sent Jack to destroy the human race. Then they used spaceships and bases to take all the Earth's resources. The leader found Jack because he saw Jack saved Julia. He was a good man. Then Jack reinstalled the spaceship. Now the spacecraft rushed to attack their base. Eventually the spacecraft was destroyed, but everyone was also seriously injured. Julia suggested that Jack must take her to Tet. After all, they asked to just bring Julia, then they wouldn't attack. Jack could only agree. Julia has now entered the hibernation room. He brought her to find aliens. On the way he remembered everything. It turned out that Jack and Victoria had been awakened at that time. They discovered Tet, and at that moment Jack was only able to launch the hibernation back to Earth, but the two were sucked in. Jack arrived, he was unobstructed, so he went inside. Jack saw countless clones of himself and Victoria. The spacecraft gradually moved inside. Jack opened the hibernation pod and released the leader outside. It turns out Jack took Julia to the house by the lake. He and the leader pressed the button together to lead the explosion, causing Tet to explode. Aliens were finally unable to attack the Earth anymore. Julia regained consciousness to see the explosion in the sky and understood everything. 3 years have passed. Julia has always lived by the lake. She gave birth to a cute little girl. That day a crowd of people came. The 52nd Jack was also in it. For the past 3 years he has been looking for Julia. Seeing that face, Julia felt both scared and cheerful. Her Jack is back.